This guy, I don't bring him on just because he's really smart. I don't bring him on just look up, look up. I don't bring him on just because I love him. I don't bring him on because he's one of the leading addiction specialists in the world, and he's here for any questions if you want that, because we're going to be talking about other things. I bring him on because he's one of the greatest guys I know, one of my best friends for 53 years, and just happening, and he's just fun and he's smart, and it just makes this whole thing go. So that's, I always like to tell you a little bit about him. Let me ask you something, Dr. V. Did
Yeah,
I
sure.
meet you in Morgan basement
We did, yes. Freshman year.
this freshman year?
Freshman
I was
year.
I was up at Phi Cap first semester because they had too many people,
That's
and
right.
then they put me into the Morgan basement, and that's when I met you. That was
Yeah,
crazy.
that's why college is so expensive these days. You don't have that kind of housing anymore. We used to live two in a tiny room, could barely fit two desks. Now
But it
they
was
have
cool.
now,
It was
now I know it's
fun.
great. Now you go there and you live in a dormitory that has jacuzzis and pools and all that kind of stuff. No wonder why it's so expensive.
I wouldn't have minded having a jacuzzi or a pool when I went. I mean, I'm not against it. But if you remember, our pool was that old pool in that old gym down
Oh my
there
God,
from like World War II with all the pictures on the wall. But we had it great. It was
it
tremendous. The
was great.
school's so different now. But I just loved it. And I don't know. It's just, you tried to save me with Professor Angiolillo, one of our favorite professors. What a
Oh, we
great
were both
guy.
saved by Nina.
Oh, man. He was a great guy. We
Yeah.
we got through there, and that's what kind of gets me. I know we weren't really going to talk about this, but I think maybe that's why the kids are a little different than we were then. I know we're old, we're boomers, but at the same time, when people marched, the kids didn't fight with each other. The kids were together. Okay, the kids went the same way, and it was for look. I was not against the war when I was younger in the early 60s. Then it changed as I got older, like everybody else. Life magazine had all those pictures of all the people who died. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just, you're losing, you see people die. It was just getting horrible over nothing. And our country was just throwing our spoils into this and killing people for no reason. But everybody was out there at the end, and we were together for this.
Exactly. Yes.
Nobody wore masks. Nobody, because we knew we were going for. Now it's almost like anti-American what's going on. I mean, they have the right. They have the right to protest, right on. But when you tell me you love Hamas, and you tell me you love the Houthis, tell me you're going to move there. Don't tell me you don't want to hear you can't move there. Tell me you're going to move there and say the same stuff, and give me a call 10 minutes later and tell me if you're still around. This is still the best country in the world, Dr. V. And I'm sick and tired of everybody jumping on. I don't even want to hear the MAGAs talk about how horrible it is. And you have to make it great again. We got problems, but this place is the real. Do you disagree with me?
Not at all. And that's
Hey,
the biggest.
Moose. Wait a second. I want to say hi.
Oh,
Moose is saying hi to us there. Thanks for
hi.
dropping in. Hey, if you got questions, you like it, we like you too. Always feel free to ask questions. Go ahead, Dr. V.
Yes, I think, and we'll probably talk about this later today.
Hey,
But I think the biggest issue in this country is that we're divided. That as a country we're strong when we're united. We can come together, solve issues. But I think the biggest issue is that we're falling apart in terms of people hating each other. I know I have a fantasy football group, and we have a group chat. Bunch of good guys. We enjoy each other. We've been doing this for over a decade. But then we start talking politics, and it gets so nasty. A month ago, people were like going to drop out and everything else. So we had to call a moratorium on talking about politics. And I don't
Did you
know.
talk or do you type it? Do you type
Type,
it or do
yeah,
you? That
yeah.
makes it worse.
Oh
If you
yeah,
can talk to people, you can laugh about it. I still got my buddies who are absolutely wrong and they like Trump, and I tell them they don't know what they're talking about, but we get along great. So hey, I say right on. But let me ask you that. So to me, I just It's more than that. It's just that people would rather hate. You're the doctor.
Yeah.
People would rather hate than get along. I really think that's what's happened. We used to try to get along. Yeah, we fought. Yeah, we went at it. Man, in our house, the two floors went at it, but we
Yes,
loved
right.
each
We
other,
loved each
right?
other. Yeah, exactly. We
Okay,
loved each other.
that's the difference here. And it's just like nobody wants to try to say, okay, here's some common ground. We got to get along. And then look, if you want to fight, fight. If it sells newspapers, it sells newspapers. But I'm just sick and tired, and I'm sick and tired of everybody attacking our country, the people here. And I want to know how many of them are Americans, how many of them are getting a free ride, how many of them
Right.
who are hiding their mask, hiding their face, are so tough and so together, they're cowards that they can't come out and put their faces out there and say what they're fighting for and everything. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I know. And is it human beings
Wait a
or is it
second.
bots?
Sounds, we saw your message. If you want to put it back up, Dr. V will give you an answer a little bit later, but whatever you wish, we don't care. Go ahead, Dr. V.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's being done purposely by these other countries where they send in the bots, they rile us up, they pull us apart, they have misinformation, or it's there's something about the mood of the people. People are distressed and upset. I don't know what's going on, but that's different these days than it used to be. People
It's
fundamentally had a love for the country, and even if they disagreed, they respected each other as human beings. Now, there's not even a respect that the other person is a living, breathing human being.
Nah, music kind of kept us together. We're going to do that there at the end. I got my boomer, and I also have to tell you, I have at the end, I have to make it a mission, and you'll have to tell me, I'm going to burden myself, and you're going to tell me that whether or not I'm burdening myself is good. But we'll come to that at the end because
Okay.
you are the doctor, and you know about this stuff. Um, but that's all part of. Let's just quickly finish it up. Is what people have to remember is, and I keep watching everybody. They say this stuff. But we are under siege by four countries. How
Yeah,
many videos do I have up on Just an American Citizen, Dr. V, for how many years?
for
It's
years.
Russia, China, North Vietnam, North Korea, and Iran, and they're after us because they want to break us off, and that's
Yes.
a major part of our inflation. That's why our economy is still great because they're still using our dollar. They're going to slowly get away from it, but they're cutting off. We need new supply lines. We need a whole bunch of stuff. We just got to start getting it together and realize we've got a group, not just one country, not two, but four of them that are after us,
Yeah, you've
with
been on
Putin
top of
leading the
this.
way.
You've been on top of this from the beginning, and help teach me about it. And everything you've been saying has been coming true. We have to figure out what do
Unfortunately.
we do about it now? How do we
Well,
keep
now
us
what
from?
we do is we're getting a couple thumbs up. We'll take some more. We'll take that. Go ahead, Dr. V.
Yeah. How do we combat this? And I think one of the primary things that they're doing is tearing us apart as a country, tearing us apart from our allies. We need to do something to bring the country together and to help us be united with our own allies.
We
And
got to beat. Go
how
ahead. I'm
do we
sorry.
do that? That's the question. How do we do that?
We beat Trump. And
Yeah.
we beat the MAGA BS down and end it, okay? Because if we beat Trump again, he's finished. And then MAGA will just break up. It's what always happens throughout American history. When the
I'll,
leader is gone, if he loses, it's over. And we got to beat him. We have to beat him at the polls. That's how you do it, Dr. V. You do it, and we beat the MAGA machine, and we could be okay. But otherwise, I think we got a problem because if they think they're going to make America great again, I still haven't had one of them tell me when it was so great that they want to go back to, that they think they can get us back to that, right? Probably when
I
there was no air conditioning. Go ahead.
well, I'm a little bit concerned that it's even beyond that. I think Trump has gotten his finger on the pulse of something, and it's something that's even worldwide that you can see increase in right wing groups all over the world and democracies. So there's something going on. There's some malaise going on, and I think he has his finger on that. And we need to understand what that is and address it.
Okay, Jimmy Carter. But remember that Modi in India got surprised where he thought he was going to just
Yeah.
take over and he got pushed down. What's his name in Hungary got shocked on some, I think it was Hungary. So these guys are getting, the right wingers are getting like pulled back a little. People want, I think people want like some, they don't want craziness. I said, this debate's going to be crazy, but we're going to get to that. Now, let me hit this because I want to ask you something here. I'm a big believer, and you can't get me away from it, that the Trump people are a cult. Okay, you're the addiction expert. I really don't. I just put a word on it. Is a cult an addiction?
Well, it has some of the properties of an addiction where your whole focus centers around the cult. Just like someone who's addicted to a drug, their whole being centers around getting the drug and using it and recovering from the effects. And the same thing with the cult, that it's not logical, it's emotional, it feels good on some level, and it's really hard to shake. When you're in the throes of an addiction, it's really hard to get out of it and see things logically. So you can see a lot of the characteristics. And the question I have with the cult is, and I don't understand this, but what do people get out of it? Why is it so enticing, so attractive? Uh, is it that people don't want to have to make decisions, that they want some authority figure telling them what to do? I don't know what it is. And I, I get it to some extent that people have a need to belong to something, that are normal cultural things that we've looked to in the past, religions, and other institutions have lost their power. So people are looking, I think, to replace that with something else. But what they replaced it with doesn't make any logical sense.
Well, unfortunately, here, and yeah, I'm upfront with everybody when they look. I'm thank you all for watching us, but I I'm a Biden supporter in this election. I just think you got to go with it. I think he's delivered, but he does look slower. He does look. I mean, what am I going to say? But he has. I think he's done a pretty good job. But I listened to Trump, and I just think the man is just loomed out, and I just think he's totally focused on himself. I've never seen anything like this. I've been through a lot. I could say, I still remember my first vote for George McGovern, and maybe I was loomed out then when I voted for George McGovern. But still, 72, man, we were 18. But still, it was like, I just don't know what I think the answer is just saying it up, being straight, going at it, not being schmoes, and then just avoid the ones who are the mouth and coming after you, and hope that we can stop the violence in the streets and get people to start understanding, for those who are protesting, that those protests. So right now, those protesters are anti-American protesters, and it's not a matter of Republican or Democrat. Those people are in there covering their faces, saying we don't like what goes on here in America, but we sure like the fruits of it, and we sure enjoy running up and down and throwing paint and mouthing people and getting their face and throwing things at it. We really like that. That's the thing to do. Also, we can support an anti-American approach. Okay, let's get to the next thing, if I may. My other worry, I'm not going to do the Supreme Court. Maybe we will. But this, what women's rights abortion? The mifepristone.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh my.
The Cali man just came on. The Trump's views on different races is ridiculous. He makes our military stronger, not to mention cheaper gas prices, especially in California. Okay, Cali, let me throw you a couple things. Thank you very much for your text there. A couple things. I agree on his views on races is rather ridiculous. But I can't say about gas prices in California because I don't live there. But they had a big thing on TV today about how gas prices are 20 cents lower than they were last summer at this time, and lower than and if you do an inflation adjusted, we don't live with inflation adjusted, they're less than 2018 and 2017. And what's really interesting is the California, you got some crazy taxes and stuff out there, but man, you got some great weather. But it had some great music in the 60s, huh? What do you think, Joe?
No
So
doubt.
oh man. So the problem you got is Dan Dicker wrote an article, a big time energy guy, saying Joe Biden's the greatest oil trader of all time. How he's been able to manage through all this stuff to keep the oil price down by working with our supply, our group. But it's just interesting. That's what's happening there. The cheaper gas, our military, he never made our military stronger. He promised all these subs, Trump. He didn't get them. He promised. It's just like he promised the wall. Is there a wall there, Dr. V? And he owned Congress. He could have done everything he wanted. No wall. He was going to get rid of Obamacare. Not that I want him to. Did he get rid of Obamacare? No. So I appreciate Callie, man, and I respect how you feel, but Biden, vote Biden, baby. We need your vote. I'm sorry. Okay, Dr. V, let's talk the mifepristone abortion. Just say quickly for everybody, there was this Supreme Court case that came down, but it was about whether or not the FDA can regulate mifepristone. It was filed by mifepristone, which is an abortion-inducing, medicinal abortion-inducing drug, and these doctors came on and said, "Oh, I'm going to be injured by it," even though they don't do anything. They have the right not to do it. And the Supreme Court said they didn't have standing, which meant they didn't have the right to bring the case because they weren't injured. But that's not the issue before us. I understand that. And everybody's going, wow, it was unanimous because it was too obvious.
Yeah.
You got a Texas judge saying he's talking about the abortionists in his opinion. You should read that opinion. This guy I don't know if he's a preacher or he's a judge, that district court guy down there. Was Kazmarek? I'm not sure his name. You should read that opinion. Like, wow. So it comes up, they send it down. But these people are fighting. They're going on. They don't believe in contraception. And what happened? We asked Congress for a vote on contraception in the Senate? What did they go? Thumbs down. How about a vote on IVF? Thumbs down. In vitro, be able to have children. How many people you know have had children? Thumbs down. Why have them? We don't need that kind of a law. They go. Meanwhile, you see what just happened. The Southern Baptist Convention just banned IVF. I mean,
unbelievable.
We're talking basic rights. We're talking basics here. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Say something.
Yeah, when you mix politics with medicine, all you get is politics. We have an FDA for a reason, to review data systematically in an unbiased way to determine if the medicine is safe and effective. It's not something that can be adjudicated in the legal system. It's something that's a medical condition, a medical situation, and we should leave that to people who understand the data and can come up with effective treatments that are safe to use.
I
And so
can
when you
hear a
start,
lot of people screaming, Dr. V, going, wait a second, Dr. V. Science isn't always science. It changes. We see how they say, don't eat fat-free, then you should eat certain types of fats. So over years, science, that's what people will say. And you've always told me that that's what happens. So I'm just saying, so science really isn't foolproof. But it's sure a lot smarter than these people generally.
yeah, so people say, well, people change their opinions. If you're a scientist, things evolve over time. And I see that as a feature, not a problem, because
I'm
as you
there.
learn information, you change your opinion about things. You don't have the same views you had when you were a kid. You learn things. And that's a feature of why we do well as a species, because we constantly evolve, we constantly change. As we learn more things, we get smarter. When you get stuck in a view and you ignore all the data that contradicts the view, you're not going to evolve. You're not going to move forward. So, yeah, science does change their mind about things. Yeah, with the COVID virus, we originally thought that it was spread through aerosols, so you needed to stay 6 feet apart and wash your groceries and things like that.
Right.
But it's doesn't spread by droplets. It probably spreads in the air in tiny particles and goes through the whole community. So you learn over time, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. And that's what I get concerned about. People who are in cults, people who have a certain belief that they're never going to change, and they're going to stay behind.
Well, we got to hope they don't pull us down like the people who aren't taking what is it, the smallpox vaccines, or what is it, the chicken
There you go.
pox or smallpox, and
Chicken
the kids
pox.
are
Yeah.
getting it, the
Yeah.
chicken pox, and the kids
Yeah.
are getting it, and you're going, well, what are you talking about? I mean, how can you not do that? You eradicated parents from what, 4 generations ago would have been begging on their knees for this kind of stuff to save their children. That's what's so crazy about all that. Okay. Now, let me ask you something. At this age, and with all that I've had, and the burdens I've had in my life, and I've had lots like everybody else and yourself also. Do you think it's good that I unburden myself as a doctor, MD, PhD, who knows all this stuff, and I've been addicted to things, and my music and people and all that, and I'm addicted to air, and I'm addicted to my family, I'm addicted to my buddies, but I have to unburden myself. And I've been
Sure.
I found something today, and it bummed me out. And I don't know if this guilt is if I should blow this guilt on everybody. I want to know, do you think it's necessary for me to let it out because of
Let
the
it
way I
out.
feel right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now look, we're gonna do the Boomers album of the week. And as all of you know, it's not gonna be Pink Floyd.
Wait till I
You
get my
all
shot.
know
Dark
that.
Side of the Moon.
Hey, Callie, do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe over at Just an American Citizen. Sorry, just want to ask you and thank you for your response. But here we go. So I'm going through for the album today, and I see this album that I had, and I know I actually played it. It was Seals and Crofts. Summer Breeze. Summer breeze makes me feel
Oh, gee.
fine. Oh my Lord. And didn't it all wasn't Hummingbird also a
Yeah.
big song with
Yeah.
here? Hummingbird. Oh,
Oh my
now
God. Good
I'm
stuff.
unburdening myself. I want you to know I have
Oh
a
my God.
couple Seals and Crofts, Dr. V.
Oh, terrible. I
Can I
know you
make
never
it?
played that in the frat house. It would
Oh,
have thrown you right
never.
out.
I would have been
You
debrotherized.
you
It would have been
it would have thrown
all
you
over.
right out. Yeah. Oh
Luckily,
my
this was
God.
71 before I had to do the push-ups with our friend Lewis on my
Yeah.
back. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
yeah, I have to confess too. That
But you have a
I
confession.
have
The
a guilty
doctor has a
pleasure. There you
confession. Go
go.
ahead.
I have a guilty pleasure. The Backstreet Boys.
Oh, really? The Backstreet
The
Boys.
Backstreet Boys.
Thank you, Callie. I can't believe it. Wow.
The Backstreet Boys.
That was never me. I'm a rocker, but
That was more the
okay.
'90s. That was way past the fraternity days. When my
Oh
daughter would listen
man.
to them, I would groove to the Backstreet Boys with her.
Oh, I suppose that's when I was listening to grunge. I'm not sure. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
Hopefully,
Okay. Okay. So now I'm gonna give us the album that we're gonna run
yeah.
with to this
Good,
week.
good, good. Let's cleanse the palate.
Hmm. Never mind the Bullocks. Here's the
Ah,
Sex
here we go.
Pistols.
There you
You would have loved these guys as your patients,
go.
Dr. V. We're talking the Sex Pistols.
There
These
you go.
guys were a meltdown before they even started, but their music was incredible. Just straight ahead punk. Anarchy in the UK. I can't sit down when I hear it. It makes my ears ring. God save the Queen. We all know that. A fascist machine. But I have to throw it in. This is it. Listen to the original. Don't listen to where they put on the new stuff and they do everything. That's the Boomers album of the
There
week.
you go.
Now, do you have any words of wisdom for us before we leave here?
No, this is good discussion, though. Good discussion. I'm glad to see some people are joining in. This is great.
Thank you. We got a couple likes. We're going to do this again next Friday at 11. And we're going to keep doing this every Friday at 11 and maybe a few more during the week as I pull this guy by the neck. I really hollers and I pull him in. I said, I heard it. You're coming in. I don't want to hear you're too busy. You're not too busy. We've known each other for 53 years and we're going to do it. I'm so excited.
Sounds great.
You see, he for some reasons thinks I'm a crazy man. I just don't understand why.
Love them. Love them. Gotta love you.
Dr. V, we'll talk with you later. See you all. Thank you all. Tune in next Friday at 11. See you. Bye
Oh,
bye.
wait,
What,
wait.
what? Oh, I'm sorry. And our
That's the
last,
way it is.
that's the way it is.
Period.
Period. Thank you, Dr. V. See you later.